About this Batley school teacher. I still just find it absolutely extraordinary in this day and age, 21st century Britain, that we have got a teacher who was teaching a class in the curriculum teaching about freedom of speech and blasphemy in a religious studies class, in which he showed a cartoon that was used in the Charlie Hebdo magazine that led, we are told, was used as justification for the absolutely outrageous murder of 12 people working at that cartoon in Paris a few years back. And that he then has faced death threats himself. He's been able to have to leave his family home. He's been suspended from school. His own head teacher apologising for him teaching a class that had already been approved by the school. And we are seeing demands for his head, almost quite literally. It is quite bizarre this is happening in this day and age, and yet I've seen, frankly, far too many politicians silent on this matter. And I don't think we've heard a peep out of the education unions yet, have we? Defending the right of a teacher to teach and not face death threats. What's going on?
Let's not pretend that the reason that the teaching unions, who were very up in arms about the fact that the schools may ever have to return, or that most politicians, or that, sadly, most newspapers, or most of the headmaster or anybody else, let's not pretend that the reason that they're being quiet about this is because this issue is in any way complicated. It's not complicated. Yes. The reason that people aren't talking out about this is because they are scared. An angry mob of a minority will come out and try and get them fired. We'll have them potentially killed or something awful like that, as we've seen happen in those Charlie Hebdo offices, we've seen happen elsewhere. That's why people are quiet about this.
Oh, no doubt. So, I mean, again, I absolutely defend the right of the teacher to do this. I think he's incredibly brave. I don't show a picture of Prophet Muhammad. I don't tweet one. And I'll tell you, there's every simple reason. Because I want to stay alive and I want my child to stay alive. And that's the only reason. And that is not healthy. In a liberal democracy, that the reason I would not stand outside a mosque and do it. I would reserve the right in a free democracy without a blasphemy law that image should be shown. If someone doesn't like it, look away or block me on Twitter. I don't care. But I find it extraordinary that the real reason that people do not show those images is because they fear for their own and their families' lives, and that is not acceptable.
It's completely not. And the fact that this isn't the front page story every day for the last couple of days, and that the teaching unions haven't come out and there hasn't been more full-throated support, is a source of shame for our country and our society. And no civilization that wants to survive and thrive can expect to have this kind of cancer living in society, and for us to get away with this sort of stuff. Because if this keeps happening, I think one of the protesters said, well, if we don't punish this guy, what's to stop this not happening again in a few years' time?
Yep.
Well, I think, frankly, it should happen a lot more.
Well, absolutely. Let's talk to Khadija Khan now, who's a journalist